is it is July 25. We're almost through July. Oh my god, time, yeah, it's going fast. Let me start this by saying, yes, I know, I wore this t-shirt 2 days ago. So for any of you who are, the fashion queens out there, I grew up, well, with a family like that. My social network was like that. I just can't deal with unpacking again. So you might see me wearing something twice in a week. Hello, everybody. It is July 25th. Very upsetting. Woke up this morning. Very upsetting to find fires very close to Paradise, Chico, Butte County. Bad fires. We're going to get into it. But I have subscribers there, and well, I don't want to use anybody's name, but my Chico subscriber that I haven't spoken to in now probably years, you have been on my mind a lot today. And while I know that this fire is just northeast of Chico proper, I'm thinking of you and other subscribers in towns that are surrounding it. And fires all over California. Fires all over Canada. Wow. All right, we're going to get into it. They're burning us up, okay? They're flooding us. They're burning us. We are at war. And it's unfortunate that an awful lot of people are not getting it at all. So hello, Analog Synth Player, Alicia DeMoss and Sandra Pillar Gill and Christy Hazelwood. Hi. Rage Against the Machine, Kim Blanchard, Silent Walk, Oracle 11, The Hypocrites Matrix. Hey. Mark Anthony. Hi. And Steve Ladner and Barb in Ohio. Hello, everybody. Andrew Cruz. Hi. I notice how my lives start to dive beginning Thursday, then Friday. That seems to be the day maybe people are busy. Oh, to have a life again. Oh, that would be my true wish. I need a miracle. James B., hello. Julio, hi. And anybody else coming in? Marlo, hello. Yeah, this fire crap, Marlo, is not natural. True Blood, hello. D-La Victoria, hi. Mama Rages, hey. Nice to see you. Pull in a lot of great tips, Mama Rages. Sister Golden Hair. And I'm sorry for even saying that, because I shouldn't be disclosing any information, so I'm sorry. Yeah. George. All right, well, we're going to look at radar quickly. There's a lot of severe weather counties in Arizona. Had one in Idaho, Montana, and while it doesn't look quite as bad, you know, those supercells these still are producing severe weather. Okay. Nevada. Look at these frequencies hitting these storms in Idaho. That you don't hear on mainstream media. What are these frequencies doing? This doesn't look good at all. Idaho. Iowa. Missouri. That doesn't look good. And look at the, it's so bizarre radar now that you would think some people who have seen radar, maybe in the past, might be thinking, where the hell are these going? How come they just manifest immediately and then disappear? Oh, wow. Yes, well, South Carolina, you're getting some storms. North Carolina, you're getting quite a bit of rain. What a time we're living. Mississippi, this doesn't look good. Florida Panhandle. Florida Panhandle. Georgia, southern Georgia, it's getting these storms. Severe thunderstorms. And southeast Texas, you're getting rain. Well, what a surprise, huh? Look at this. This is all going up north. This is coming fast down south and extinguished. Okay. We'll just do a brief tornado check. Okay, good. No tornado alerts, but severe weather alerts. And I think I have to refresh. Arizona, Idaho, Montana, and Missouri. Be safe, everybody. The link is in the chat. I hope that you bookmark it. If you see any of these red blobs that manifest in your area, take a look at the severe weather alerts. Not that that's an absolute, because you can have severe weather without an alert, and we know that too, right? But I'll also post the link to the radar site. People are really, truly getting so destroyed. The numbers are just adding up to the point that it's like staggering. It is, wow, we're in trouble, okay? So look at this. North America has developed a chronic summer rash. Wildfires. That's quite the posting, isn't it? Wildfires. Okay. I have a lot pulled up. I'm not sure I'm going to be playing every video, but let's start. Massive wildfires rage in California, in Oregon, also in Washington, and some wildfires in Montana and Canada, Alberta. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's hard to keep your composure. It's hard to keep your composure. And, people have said that I should be like a mainstream media reporter. Rethink that, because I don't keep my composure. I don't think any of this is deserving of keeping your composure.
More than 100 massive wildfires are raging up and down the West Coast right now, all the way from Southern California, stretching up to Washington. Thunderstorms and strong winds rattled the Oregon-Idaho border as well, fueling wildfires there, including the largest blaze currently burning in the country. It's called the Durkee Fire, and it's grown to more than 260,000 acres, and it doubled in size over just the past 3 days. In Central California, the Park Fire more than tripled in size overnight. Of course, that forced evacuations. Officials say it's still burning out of control right now. Let's bring in Rachel Wolf with CBS News Sacramento. You see her in the city of Chico. I know the park fire is raging near where you are. Tell us how bad things are this morning.
Well, at this point in time, the fire has jumped to 45,000 acres from 6,500 overnight, and it's just 3% contained. And it traveled about 35 miles between 6 o'clock last night and 4 a.m. this morning. So I'm going to step out of the way so you can get an idea of the sun coming up. So the sun is rising. You see that big orange glow. It's made more orange because of all of the smoke. We did shoot some flames earlier this morning as we were by Bidwell Park. Now, I went to Chico State. I'm very familiar with this area. Bidwell is a beautiful recreational area. There are thousands of trees and grassy areas for recreation, jogging, walking. But that is where the fire is believed to have originated and is now ripping up the ridges here just on the northeast side of town. Thankfully, the wind is blowing away from Chico. That is where Chico State is located, and there's a subdivision that I'm standing by that when I was here years ago, we won't say how many, but this was fields. So now there are people living in areas that were grasslands before, and that's the concern. This fire, the head of it, we're told by some of the fire officials here, is now near Red Bluff, and it's moving pretty quickly because of the winds. The winds blowing out of the south, heading southeast. So that's the good news, is it's blowing away from town. And it seems to have died down a little bit because overnight they did kick up, and that's one of the reasons why we had such an explosion in the number of acreage. There is.
All right, so that was 7 hours ago. And I do want to point out, having contact with one subscriber, and I do want to say, just in case that Chico subscriber is watching, I deleted so many of my emails, and I couldn't find your email address because I would have emailed you this morning. But I did email another subscriber who is a Paradise victim, now living in a town close to Paradise. I honestly, I just keep, it's one thing to be like, oh shit, these thunderstorms, the severe weather, the flooding. Fire is a whole other ballgame, as far as I'm concerned. It is, I can't imagine being someone who dies from fire. Anyway, and in the same area of Paradise, when you see this huge fire that grew really, really super fast overnight, 45,000. Now it's the last I heard was 71,000 just today. That's the coverage of this fire. And I will say that for all of those who have been in these fires, but also all of us, we know they can change those winds in a heartbeat. Are they going to keep it away from Chico? Are they going to keep it away from I keep thinking of Magnolia. Magalia. Are they going to spread it into Orville? We don't know. But to see this happening over and over and over again, it's like, come on, please. And people believing wow, are they on the climate change thing? I don't know if you have seen. No, it's not buffering as bad at all. And I knew that it was the hot spot in the area where I was. So anyway, I can't imagine having survived the Paradise campfire only to now be living in a town right near Paradise and have this going on again. It's kind of like people who have suffered the hurricanes. Ah, we've got another one coming. How about those tornadoes? This is not a funny game. And so many, I am. Oh, you're moving to West Oregon. To West Oregon. Okay. Pay very careful attention to where this fire is, Christy. Wow. Okay. Yeah, the climate change. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much for people to just do a little bit of research, or even just hook into the research of so many of us. Weather modification, directed energy weapons, a whole lot. On my playlist, Never Lose Truth, Rumble, Never Lose Truth. They're there, and I'm not spouting my opinion. I'm spouting facts and documents and papers. Look at this.
Holding the PAL spot. Just confirm you have people with you right now at the heli spot? Yeah, perfect.
All right. I've noticed a number of news broadcasts in the title are saying that this park fire is in Chico. Now, is it in Chico? Is Chico a lot bigger than I realized? Chico proper is not part of the fire, but I was surprised to see that. Any of you in California know? Let me know, please. I thought it was just outside of Chico, this fire.
Fires prompting evacuations in Northern California. The park fire is burning near Chico. So far, the fire scorched more than 6,000 acres. Smoke from the fire and several others in the region has also triggered air quality concerns. ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee is there in California. Ginger, let's start with that wildfire in Northern California near Chico. What's the latest on that?
Yes, and actually that number has skyrocketed. As of 3 p.m. yesterday, it was around 6,500 acres. Now, more than 45,000 acres, Diane. And so it is just exploded.
And it exploded again today. It's now 71,000.
Exploding in size, and it's only 3% contained. There are definitely evacuations. We've seen some chatter about people that were stuck potentially in cars. We've got this video here that really showcases how quickly it's burning. I mean, you'd have to burn some 2,000 acres per hour in that time to achieve.
And recognize the color of the flames. That's not the color of wildfires. That is extraordinary heat coming from that flame. Is it from all of the aluminum all over the trees that's creating that? Is it plasma fires, Jeff Schneider too? Something is, let's just say wildfires have changed characteristics throughout the years.
achieve the numbers it has. And watch this video where you see that propane tank likely next to a home explode. And so there's a lot of threats happening at this moment, and we're going to be, of course, watching not just the Park Fire, but there are 88 large active wildfires across the American West. So the smoke, yes, going to be a problem, not just there in Chico.
Look at the intensity of the heat. Look at this. Look at this. That's not a wildfire. Something else is going on. We also have nanotechnology that they can be using in these fires. There's an awful lot. Nobody can say for sure, absolute, that this is what's going on. They might be able to claim it's going on, but other things are going on that can end up confusing people. I don't get confused. I keep it at, these are not natural. We are at war. And while years ago I wanted to know every detail and I wanted to know the causes of everything, and I don't need that anymore. That's what happens when you've done an awful lot of research. You have your own foundation of knowledge that you can work off of. But when you see this time and time and time again, you realize we're at war. Doesn't matter if somebody kills you with a handgun or an AR-15. Do you care? I don't. You're killed. You're dead. Okay? So the weapons that are being used, well, there's a lot of signatures out there in these fires that show you something is amiss. These are not natural. And yes, they seem to target structures, cars, and leave everything else alone.
Every single day. So it is just very, very hot. It's bone dry, and pretty much every spark that hits the ground is going to turn into a fire. And so those are the conditions we're dealing with right now.
And the warning of more lightning strikes, dry lightning strikes upon the dry brush, causing more fires coming to you in California, Oregon, Washington. And a man arrested on suspicion of starting California's largest wildfire of the year.
And we have breaking news. An arrest has been made in the massive wildfire in Northern California that has exploded in size. Today, police arrested a 42-year-old man from Chico. They say he was seen pushing a car that was on fire. The car went off an embankment, burning completely, and arson investigators believe starting that fire. It's burned more than 4.
Okay, so this is the cause they're claiming. The car, this burning car that somebody apparently just pushed off the embankment. Actually, the subscriber wrote to me, it happens to be in her town, and this started the fire. She said it went into a swimming hole, but it doesn't look like, it might have been a swimming hole, but not anymore. Why did it grow so fast? Oh, those winds. Car believed to have started the Park Fire in Butte County.
This is a photo released by the Butte County District Attorney that shows the charred car believed to have started the fire.
So, I guess the story is that the car was on fire and he pushed it and it fell off an embankment. Can anybody discern what kind of car this is? Oh boy. And then to think, my subscriber saying that he pushed it into, one of the swimming holes, and if that's true, I don't see that as a swimming hole, but maybe he was pushing it into the swimming hole to stop the fire? I don't know. I'm not there. Oh my God. So, and this is just one fire here that's grown to 71,000.
All right, let's get back to that breaking news out of Butte County. Again, this has grown substantially. 71,000 acres have burned in the Park Fire, now becoming the biggest wildfire in the state this season, surpassing Southern California's Lake Fire. Officials say the incident started in Upper Bidwell Park, that is just 10 minutes from Chico. Right now, only 3% containment on this fire, and dozens of zones are under evacuation. So here's a map of those zones. Everything in the red, huge zone right there, that is mandatory evacuations. Area in yellow, those are warning zones. Evacuation centers have been set up for community, also animals, and if you need a place to go, we have the address right there on your screen at the neighborhood church in Chico.
At the neighborhood church in Chico, small animal shelter in Del Oro, Oroville, large animal shelter, Clark Road in Oroville. And, a whole lot of people have horses in those areas. It's like, oh, I really feel for a whole lot of people suffering, these weather terrorists. Home explodes as wildfire descends on area near Chico. Well, I just really hope that the winds don't take a turn. If that was a propane tank, is that... I'm not a fire expert. Would it burst out so white? A house that explodes, would it burst out like that? That reminds me of, and I spoke about this in a live stream last week, the thunderstorms that were taking place in the other area where I was, and I mentioned how it scared the crap out of me. It wasn't lightning, it was a burst of light, just like you saw, and then a crack of thunder that was like, Well, use all of these experiences if you have them, and then imagine war. Imagine bombs coming down on you in your area. Here, Chico, California, Park Fire. I can't play this. This is Live Storms Media. The link is in the chat. A lot of people have lost their homes already. But, really? Okay. So, the car? Only. Really? Okay. And if you do notice, a lot of the dry brush surrounding the dust left over from the house, the truck got it, And again, you know, it's remarkable. Even on this white bark, it's not discolored, but a whole lot of dry brush. Boy. And they talk about how hot these fires are. The winds whipping these wildfires, making them bigger and bigger, and they're out of control. And yet, you see something like this, and you have to wonder, I guess the winds weren't blowing then. And car fire on Bay Bridge. This was today.
Into our newsroom here. This is on the Bay Bridge. These photos captured from a KRON 4 producer, and they show a car that is on fire there. You can see the smoke coming out of that vehicle. This is on the top lanes of the bridge heading into San Francisco. Now, that smoke could also be seen rising from the bridge there. Live perspective from one of our cameras. You can see the Bay Bridge on your screen right there. And we are working on gathering more information on the situation. We'll bring that to you as soon as that does.
That may have been, it looks like a Porsche, it may have been an electric vehicle, but cars just bursting into flames. Okay. Butte County resident can only watch as their home is burned by the park fire.
Fire, as it's known, burning east of Chico, went from 6,500 acres to more than 45,000 overnight. The fire started around 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. So if you do the math on that, in 16 hours, that fire has grown to burn the city, an area the size or larger than the size of the city of Stockton, I should say. CAL FIRE says the fire is only 3% contained this morning. There are mandatory evacuation orders in effect for parts of Butte and Tehama counties as well. I want to show you the evacuation map here. Everything in red, that is mandatory evacuation orders. You are not.
And this is the area of Cohasset Road near the airport. In case you're not familiar with the Chico area, it's north of town. So we have a number of CAL FIRE crews. We're in an area that's under a mandatory evacuation order. This home has burned alongside the road here, and we spoke with a woman this morning. We saw she had posted on Facebook saying, hey, I saw my...
The grass didn't ignite? Really? These trees, the leaves, the dry brush on the didn't ignite? This grass didn't ignite? That's very bizarre.
Hey, I saw my home burn, and we got her permission to use these pictures. This is images of the surveillance footage of her home burning. So this is what she posted. She watched her home burn. That's got to be tough. And she was thankful she was safe. She was nowhere near there. She's staying with a friend in Chico. And then this morning we came up here and had her address, and we went to the street where her home was located. And sadly, we saw this, and often when we're covering these fires, people want to know, because in some cases there are dozens and dozens of homes, and that's a tough place to know that, you're kind of being the bearer of bad news. Although she knew, you're kind of being the...
You are noticing this, right? Look at these leaves. They look dead. The house is completely destroyed. No discoloration on this bark. Leaves here, leaves there. Where did this fire come from?
Dozens of homes, and that's a tough place to know that, you're kind of being the bearer of bad news. Although she knew already that she didn't have a home to return to. So this fire is about a mile outside of town, 2 miles. People were watching it during the early morning hours burn. Some people were very, very nervous about all this, given what happened during the campfire. There's a lot of campfire evacuees that relocated to Chico. Some people still have not been able to find housing. This is a beautiful area north of town. It's in the foothills, but there's a lot of vegetation and fuel for this fire because we've had 2 near record years of rain. So the firefighters are hoping for a break in the wind, because the wind is blustering a bit this morning, and that swirl takes the embers, even something from like a stump being on fire, even though they've gotten this area under control, and can spark something else. So,
well, for some reason, the embers never land on the trees. Yeah. Apache fire. This is down south, Ventura County.
In Ventura County, a brush fire that began burning this evening has grown to 250 acres. That's according to officials with the Los Padres National Forest. Fire broke out near Highway 33 and Apache Canyon Road. As of 9 p.m., there were 4 large air tankers at the scene along with fire crews. The evacuation warning has now been upgraded to an evacuation order for Apache Canyon. Residents were evacuated by the Ventura County Sheriff. Right now, multiple structures are threatened and the fire remains active. This is a developing story, and
It's a developing story. How about a brush fire? And this is in San Diego.
staying on top of a developing story out of northeastern San Diego County, where a brush fire has now grown to 400 acres, forcing some evacuations. It is called the Grove Fire. It started around 1:30 this afternoon near the Oak Grove campground that's east of Palomar Mountain. The fire was first reported at 15 acres before quickly jumping to 400. It remains 0% contained. Evacuation orders and warnings have been issued for homes near the Oak Grove area. We are staying on top of this fire and continuing to monitor it closely. We will bring you any updates on the air and online as soon as they're available on.
Burning up the house. Some homeowners in Cambria being dropped by insurance companies. California.
Homeowners around the country are being dropped by their insurance companies. Here's how one local community is.
I think it's in California. But yeah, the insurance companies are dropping people left and right.
Is being impacted.
I'm Sophia Villalba, and while reporting here in Cambria just last week, I met a man who told me he was recently dropped by his homeowner's insurance. It's something many people throughout the state have been experiencing, so as your community reporter, I decided to find out what options people have if faced with the same issue.
It's definitely a concern in this part of California with the fire risk.
John Heydrich and his wife Charlotte have lived in Cambria since 2008 and received a cancellation notice for their home insurance nearly a year ago.
We had to change our insurance because Cambria, where we are residing, is too much of a fire risk, and we had to actually switch to a different company.
Chris Raiders, who owns Ted Ham Insurance, tells me the challenge with insurance companies is the capacity of homes they are willing to cover in one area in regards to insurance losses.
Well, we had a broker. Now it means we write 2 checks instead of 1 for our home insurance, one to one company and one to another company.
Raiders recommends those who have received a non-renewal notice to call around and see what other insurance companies are available. He says the last resort is the California Fair Plan, which he tells me is the most expensive option.
And that's the government. That's California government insurance. They're pushing everyone to rely on government. Multiple large wildfires in the North Cascades. Okay, Washington.
These photos show it all. It's a race from the U.S. Forest Service and other agencies to contain multiple wildfires in the North Cascades. The Pioneer Fire is big, 30,000 plus acres burning on the shore of Lake Chelan, nearing the town of Stehekin.
They're doing what they can to slow it down.
Ryan Moody with the Chelan County Sheriff's Office told us about the small community, about 4 to 5 miles near the fire, only accessible by boat, and on foot, they're getting people there ready.
You haven't told anybody to evacuate yet, you're just telling them to be ready. That could be a possibility in the future, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, they're currently at a level 1, which, like I said, is just to be aware.
U.S. Forest Service officials said this was caused by a person, but said they're still investigating. To the west is the Easy Fire, several hundred acres large, which was started by lightning, and a portion of North Cascades Highway is now closed.
The wildfire has gotten very close to the highway, and because of the steep terrain there can be rolling rocks, falling trees, and just fire itself.
Lauren DeRocher is with the U.S. Forest Service. She said the North Cascades are in a tough spot.
It's extremely dry. There's a lot of wildfire activity happening.
In Darrington, our Como 4 drone shows mostly clear skies, which will likely see more smoke if the wind changes.
Yeah, it'll get to a point where you won't see
much at all. All right, so that's Washington. Gold Complex fire burning near west of Reno, Nevada.
A number of fires are burning thousands of acres in the Plumas National Forest in Northern California. That's about an hour and a half west of Reno. The U.S. Forest Service says lightning caused 4 fires on Monday during an afternoon thunderstorm. The 4 fires are being called the Gold Complex Fire. They burned more than 2,900 acres. The Forest Service has not yet announced a containment estimate. Utility companies in the area, including NV Energy, have warned residents they may need to shut off power because of the fire.
A whole lot of these fires just erupted since the last live stream. The winds are picking up. Let me just see. Arizona getting their severe weather. Oh, yeah. A whole lot of counties. Let's see. Yep. Pima, Cochise, Santa Cruz, Maricopa, Yavapai, Graham, Helia. Yeah, I think I'm in Pima County. I know that I've asked before. Yes, I am in Pima County. Okay, well, look out. The weather terrorists are just out of control, flipping the switch and destroying a whole lot of us.
A number of fires are burning thousands of acres in the Plumas National Forest in Northern California. That's about an hour and a half west of Reno. The U.S. Forest Service says lightning caused 4 fires on Monday during an afternoon thunderstorm. The 4 fires are being called the Gold Complex Fire. They burned more than 2,900 acres. The Forest Service has not yet announced a containment estimate. Utility companies in the area, including NV Energy, have warned residents they may need to shut off power because of the fire.
New evacuations ordered as 10 large wildfires burn across Washington.
And tourists are being told to leave Stehekin by tomorrow morning as the Pioneer Fire grows. That area will be under a level 2 evacuation starting at 8 a.m. That means those living there should be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Let's bring in King 5's Jim Nelson with a closer look at that fire and others burning across the state. Jim.
Yeah, Steve, there are 10 large wildfires right now, but let's focus on a few that have really taken some turns tonight. The Pioneer Fire we've been talking about, it's been burning for more than 6 weeks. You just mentioned it's threatening to force even more people out of their homes, and there are a few toward Yakima. The Retreat Fire is, in just 24 hours, putting even more people on notice. New help in the fight against wildfires. Washington's Army National Guard sending a Black Hawk helicopter east to drop water wherever it's needed. Hours later, new evacuations in the Yakima area.
You know, whenever you have a wind-driven fire, those acre counts can jump in a really quick window there. So definitely another example of a wind-driven fire taking quick effect on the landscape.
The Retreat Rimrock Fire southeast of Natchez growing quickly to 8,000 acres, forcing residents out of homes and 125 youth campers and staff out of Camp Gormley.
This developed in a matter of hours. We went from hearing about this fire at 4 o'clock yesterday to evacuating at about 7 o'clock.
Suddenly on the move at the order of the Forest Service.
Just find any vehicles that you can safely get campers in and get them on the road.
12 miles southeast in Sela, the Black Canyon Fire, up to 6,500 acres. 70 miles south in Klickitat County, the Bighorn Fire now burning 18,000 acres. And the big one, the Pioneer Fire.
And we're here to do the best that we can.
A state, regional, and federal response for the 30,000 acre and growing fire, 20 miles northwest of Chelan. No easy fight.
Not just the fire, the whole valley, evacuations, everything. Very complex.
People in Stehekin told to prepare to leave. Tourists asked to be out by early Thursday as that fight continues.
No doubt those fire crews.
Wow. It's all about climate change. They're pushing that simultaneous to all of these fires. And it's very upsetting to see that lie go on and on and on. Massive structure fire erupts east of Los Angeles.
Fire in Rosemead.
Ooh, that's a lot of flames and a lot of thick black smoke. Gil Levis in Sky 5 with all the details. Hi, Gil.
Hi, Sandra and Lou. This has been burning since just before 2:30 this afternoon. LA County Fire on scene here. It is a large commercial structure that...
Now I've lost my pointer on my mouse. That was weird. I lost the internet completely, and that hotspot wouldn't come up for me to click on, the right name and password and everything to get back on the internet. I've never had that happen. That was very, very strange. So here I am saying the internet is better here. I'm back. You hear me? I can't believe this. That was the strangest thing. All right. Hopefully it will remain on. Okay, so they're afraid for these fires. There was a pallet fire in LA. There's this fire. There was another fire. I don't think I pulled it up. Let me just go to history. Am I on the right? Yeah. No, I think this is the chemical fire. Okay, there was another fire. What is this fire? It's too many fires. There's a junkyard on fire. All in California, by the way. This looks like the junkyard. Yeah, it's quite a bit. Lots of smoke in Southern California for all of you to breathe. Well, add it to the mix of all of what they're spraying on us. Wildfires in Oregon, burning so hot they're creating their own weather.
Wildfires raging in the west are forcing mass evacuations and road closures. And in Oregon, the flames are sparking a new weather system that's pushing fire higher than ever. National correspondent Vanessa Mashanya has the details.
An imposing column of gray cloud shoots into the sky as wildfires burn in eastern Oregon. Fires, meteorologists say, that are so hot they're creating their own weather by way of a pyrocumulus cloud.
We have these very intense sources of heat, and then you have the winds coming from it that are mixing up the air and mixing the atmosphere and bringing that heat up through the column of the atmosphere.
National Weather Service meteorologist David Bishop describes it as a convection oven. Heat and smoke from the wildfire create an updraft, which then hits cooler air in the atmosphere, creating a cloud. This is similar to how a thunderstorm cloud is made, but the intensity of the heat and the fact that it is stationary makes it different.
That fire is just there. It's churning. It's keeping going. So you're throwing more fuel up into the system so it can kind of develop on its own. And
Ugh. Oh boy, what a silly comment. God's children have no fear, Carol. Oh really? How about the children of God running from these fires? They have no fear because they have God. So silly, so young, so indoctrinated. Raw video shows damage caused by Jasper Fire, Alberta, Canada.
Back overseas now in five.
But I actually wanted this video.
Now, and firefighters in Canada are working around the clock to contain a fast-moving wildfire in the country's Alberta province. More than 25,000 people have been evacuated from the tourist town of Jasper after blazes spread through a nearby national park. The area has seen 58,000 lightning strikes this week following a 3-week heat wave. Several buildings were destroyed. As some locals concede, significant losses occurred.
To the emergency responders and firefighters, we wish you all the luck in fighting this fire and keeping safe as well. I've been in constant contact over the last couple of days, not only with my team, but also reaching out to our federal counterparts, where we're working together with the City of Jasper, as well with Parks Canada and our own Alberta Emergency Management Agency. And we're going to do everything we can to put this fire out.
Authorities are concerned the fire could affect the Trans Mountain Pipeline, which carries 890,000 barrels of oil each day across parts of the country.
Well, they do want to get rid of that fossil fuel from dinosaurs. Jaspertown before wildfire. Jasper, in the Jasper family, stay strong, thinking of you all. Jasper evacuees await update as pictures and video show extent of the devastation.
The last image I saw of the town in my mind.
Pay careful attention to what this man says.
Was almost every block had at least one house fully engulfed. And that means the neighboring houses were going next. But it was very strange to see how it was that there was a fire in almost every single block.
I feel that it's important for the contractors to be part of these events as well. All these fire trucks that are behind me are all private hire fire trucks. So we are doing our part to protect the Alberta economy.
The provincial government has asked the federal government for assistance from the Canadian military to deal with the provincial wildfire situation, and many people here are again just waiting to hear the latest of what was happening with their town and the latest on their community. Jasmine King, Global News, Hinton. People who recently
Almost every block had at least one house fully engulfed, and that means the neighboring houses were going next. But it was very strange to see how it was that there was a fire in almost every single block.
I feel that it's important.
That's interesting, huh? Very interesting. And then you see the aerial or the videos of house after house after house after house gone. This man I think he lost his 2 liquor stores, which leads me to believe that that beautiful town got hit, and his home.
I'm doing okay, thanks, Andrew. It's a bit surreal. Our home burned to the ground yesterday, and we're just processing that and images of the town. From what we can see so far, the 2 liquor stores are standing, but we haven't had enough photos on our Patricia Street store to know for sure how that one looks, but the Connaught Drive location seems to be standing. We're doing okay. We're at my wife's family's cottage in the Shoe Swap, which is actually quite lovely, and everyone here has been super friendly and understanding, and we're with a couple other families from Jasper who came with us. So I'm sorry. Life is going on.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your home. And I think we were just looking at some pictures of your home that was. How did you hear about this, and how have you and the family?
Okay, so I'm going to post the link. You can listen to the full interview. But that's the importance of family. Get it? When you face crisis, devastation, when you have a family you can go to, they hold you up. That's what family is supposed to be about. All right, video shows town of Jasper utterly devastated after wildfire sweeps through. Now, when they say town of Jasper, I'm not entirely sure if it was what we just saw, how beautiful that was, or was it the outskirts? I wish I knew. What is this? Maybe cinder blocks? I don't know, but there's not even any burn marks on it. And if you zoom in, oops, wrong one. Wrong one again. Get off. Don't want you. Come on. I believe that's a green trash bin. Okie dokie. It's odd how all of this remains clean. You have these high winds, you have all of this smoke going on, and there are so many, images of purely clean bins, or, well, the plastic bins speak for themselves, right? But really? So we have very strange wildfires now. But listen to this, the Liberal government in Canada.
Good news, kids. You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks. And the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn. Good news, kids.
The climate warmongers. There was a tornado in Montreal.
Well, yesterday, heavy rains, lightning, and strong winds hit the South Shore pretty hard. Our Matilda Chironi is in Brossard this morning. Matilda, tell us, we're looking at a possible tornado that touched down.
That's right, Braden. I spoke earlier to Environment Canada, who is still assessing the strength and the speed of the wind, but they think it is probably a tornado. The winds were very strong enough that here on Boulevard Mat, a truck was toppled over. Police in Longueuil say that the driver suffered only minor injuries, fortunately, and that nobody else was involved or injured in the accident. They had to close the street for a while, but it is now back fully operational. And other damages that we're seeing were trees that were uprooted from the strength of the winds. Everything started in the evening. The tornado, the possible tornado that we saw, took place around 8 p.m. and accompanied by thunderstorm, lots of rain. And another region that was particularly affected yesterday were the Laurentides, especially in the town of Saint-Hippolyte, where firefighters had to deal with a couple of fires that erupted after trees fell on power lines. And fortunately now the situation over there is under control, they say.
Yeah, I think Montreal is known for its tornadoes, right? You see these red blobs manifest in your area, that's a supercell. Tornadic activity, baseball-sized hail, flash flooding, straight-line winds, a whole lot of damage can occur. BC rancher rides toward wall of flame to rescue cows.
A neighboring ranch came to help, and together with his family, they rode hard and fast.
Unfortunately, son ran back, and you just have to be okay with that because you can't lose your life over it.
He was able to get half of his cows to safety, but doesn't know if any died in the fire.
We haven't been able to get into the fire where the cows were, so we're just trying to focus on the lower portions where we know cows are, that we can get safely out of the way.
They now need to...
Wow, that must be just heartbreaking. Flash flooding in Galveston, Texas today.
Galveston, Texas, in the flood threat again. A flood watch extended through later today, probably going to get pushed until into the weekend. You can see why. Streets here like 37th Street filled with water from the rain, the tropical moisture coming ashore off the Gulf of Mexico. Could we see 4-inch per hour rain rates throughout the course of this day, into tonight, even into tomorrow morning? Certainly possible. And what that's doing is flooding streets. You can see the Jeep coming up here definitely has water up to the front bumper, if not a little higher than that. Certainly.
Even when there's no massive hurricane or storm, still roads are flooding. Oh boy. And Phoenix last night, severe weather.
Well, this area got hit very hard last night, and we are seeing that now that the sun is up, just how bad this building was damaged here. The roof was ripped off, and so from the ground, you even see a lot of the walls caved in. Now, I want to bring in Sky 12, which is above this warehouse at this time. We can see from the sky just how badly damaged the building is from this vantage point again. So you get the ground view and the aerial view here of just how badly we're talking about. Several other buildings are damaged in this area as well, but this warehouse certainly got the brunt of all of it. Now, I just spoke this morning with several women who say they work at this warehouse. They didn't even know what happened until they got here a little bit ago, and that's when they learned, well, they said, no, we're not going to be working today. And they're also telling me that they know the partner of the person who was trapped inside. So we're working to get that confirmed for you before we share that here on air, but we can tell you the cleanup is going to take a while. And again,
yes, and homes, their roofs blew off. Apartment building in Phoenix damaged.
Over off of the 10 and 51st Avenue, we saw a lot of it, guys. So stay with us this morning. In the next hour, we're going to show you just how many down power lines we saw and trees over here on the west side. So,
and more severe weather coming. The SEC's climate disclosure rule is a dark cloud over energy abundance, and they are putting the pressure on companies. For the first time in its 90-year history, the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, has injected political risk factors into its traditionally principles-based disclosure framework. The SEC buckled under pressure from left-wing special interests to impose the first environmental disclosure mandate on public companies. If the SEC's final rule is allowed to go into effect by the courts, it will be a financial disaster for the public markets, for firms, not the huge corporations, the smaller ones. The climate rule will require most large and mid-sized public firms to report annual and quarterly disclosures that account for an endless range of climate risk factors. This translates to approximately 3,488 firms spending upwards of $628 million on direct disclosure costs and millions on indirect costs. Firms will need to expend great resources hiring climate scientists, ESG experts, lawyers, and accountants to properly prepare their disclosures for the review from the SEC, neglecting the time normally spent on enhancing their market value. And whatever these companies, if they're providing services, for the public, products, what's going to happen? They'll raise their prices. I'll post the link if, it might be too long. Let's see. No, fits. It fits. Wow. A lot is going on, huh? Hey. A lot is going on. This is not what I wanted. We'll click off that and go here. I'm just going to fly through these. I can't get off But I don't care. Just the headline. Bosses admit that return to office mandates were meant to make staff quit. It was a ruse. No more working at home. Come into the office. Meant to make staff quit. $1 million starter home, the norm in 237 cities. $1 million for a starter home. Okay. Well, don't know what to say. Cost of living crisis hits sales of food, cars, luxury goods. You're saying that it's just hitting food, cars? Hello? That's a weird headline. That was from today. Kids. You having kids? Nope. No thanks. A whole lot are saying no because they can't afford to have kids. They can't afford it. Fake private property signs spring up on wealthy California city's beach in Malibu. So they're fake, they're public beaches, but oh, my shit don't stink, I'm putting a property, stay off my private property sign for the public. Ooh, the entitlement reeks. Comcast lost 120,000 broadband subs in second quarter. And it lost another 419,000 pay TV subscribers. Comcast, I think, is going down. World's richest 1% gained $40 trillion in a decade. Did they gain it or did they steal it? They stole it. Closing times, 16 Tallahassee, this is in Florida, Tallahassee restaurants shut down just this year. A whole lot of restaurants all over the country are shutting down, they can't make it. But the economy is just swell. I'm going to play a few minutes of Greg Manarino. I'll post the link. Yeah, things are not good at all. And now get stuck in a circumstance, good luck getting out of it.
These leading economic indicators, and they have been proven to be correct. Now, you turn on Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox Business, Reuters, they're telling you they're broken. They're not working. The economy is strong. We're booming. Again, look what they're saying here. No, let's use their own words against them. Now, just real quick, this is kind of funny in a way. This is Yahoo Finance talking about this fantastic GDP number. U.S. economy grows faster than expected in second quarter as the economy eases. Remember that, because also today, Wall Street Journal is saying GDP report, inflation was higher than expected. So right here, obviously they're not getting the same memo. Otherwise, they'd all be saying the same thing. Yahoo Finance wants you to think inflation is getting better. Wall Street Journal, no, higher than expected. Let me explain this to you in case you're new here. With regard to inflation, with regard to dollar devaluation and every other freaking thing connected to this, we haven't seen it exactly, Jeffrey. You're 100% right. Now, I want to talk about the number one. See, you're not allowed to know this stuff, okay? But I'm going to tell you. The number one leading economic indicator. You want to just look, all this stuff, it sounds good. It sounds really intelligent. Leading economic indicators. Wow. How cool is that? We need to look at one thing, you and me, and that's this. U.S. Treasury key yield curve inversion becomes the longest on record. Okay, this is the U.S. yield curve. What am I talking about? Treasury.
All right, I'm sorry. I have to interject. Is anybody else noticing the light getting a little bit darker and then it comes back, and and the focus, it kind of comes. I've been noticing that when I'm filming here, there is a shitload of frequencies right smack in this development. Of course there are. There's smart meters all over the place, Carol. This is not good. This is not good. But I just wondered, because that's what I'm seeing. You know, it's, and I have to wonder if that's what happened with the internet just a bit ago, that it just cut out. Yeah, things aren't good. Well,
yields. Shorter term debt is yielding higher than longer term debt. That's what this means. Okay. Don't take my word for what I'm about to say. Look this up for yourself. First of all, we've had an inverted yield curve since 2000.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, Greg, right there. I'm going to put your link in again. Things are coming fast at us. Now, a whole lot of people who are, you know, perhaps even living in a bubble, that things are fine in their area, they're fine, things are coming at us fast. So I hope you're prepared, because this is not going to be pretty. Here, there is no way to stop it. An extreme decline is dead ahead. So the link is in the chat. I'm also going to play a few minutes of Neil McCoy Ward alarming things are falling apart very quickly.
Well, things are falling apart very quickly. This is quite alarming, what we're going to talk about in today's video. So I hope you are getting prepared for all of these events, because this is just ramping up. It's so insane what we're going to talk about. This is just the last few days of news. Are you ready for this? Just to give you a quick summary. A new agreement. We've got another country now has just signed a military declaration with Russia. Romania's been scrambling jets against Russia. We have a mass riot that's been going on, 200 people killed. We've got soldiers from another country inside another country backed by the US. We've got a coup to overthrow a government. More sanctions against Hungary and Orban. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Let's just get straight into it, because this is the craziest few days of news I think I've heard all year. And that's saying something, because it's been a crazy year already. So let's begin then with the first story here. Russia and North Korea have just signed a new military declaration, but it also covers legal assistance on criminal cases, collaboration against crime, cyber crimes, all sorts of other stuff. But this agreement has drawn huge condemnation from the US, who said they did not give them permission to enter. Try to say it without laughing. The US didn't give them permission to enter into this agreement. Oh, naughty Russia and North Korea. They should have asked for permission, which I'm sure would have been granted. But I wanted to know what this agreement is in aid of, apart from military aid and helping each other out with technology and everything else. They said this, and I quote, "This treaty on comprehensive strategic partnership, which was originally signed in June, that's just come into force, claims it's going to stabilize the situation in Northeast Asia and make a positive contribution to maintaining the balance of power in the region. And, here it is, lay the foundation for building a new Eurasian security system to counteract Japan, South Korea, and what they deem to be US influence in the region, influence that they don't want." So this is now China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran, which covers the Middle East region. And it's very interesting seeing all the BRICS countries and how their alliances are the ones that are applying for BRICS membership, and how their alliances are shifting quite dramatically at the moment. I think
away from the United States. Neil's video is in the chat. his link, I'm sorry. All men are created equal, apparently, according to the University of Oregon. It's hate speech. I'll post the link to this article. It's hate speech. Yeah. And how about FBI director casts doubt on whether Trump was struck by bullet during assassination attempt at rally. Oh boy, what could it have been? Christopher Wray updating Congress about the attempt in Butler. With respect to Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear. Oh, I was wondering if they were going to say that he had a little plastic bag of red juice that he that he squeezed. I guess not. The official story of Trump shooting is garbage. Don't we know it? Don't we know it? Of course it's garbage. Everything is fucking garbage in this country.
Hey, I'll see you on tour in Las Vegas, Chicago, and Grand Rapids. In Chicago, it's stand-up and a live panel show. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to jimmydore.com. So guess what? Somebody went up on, they said they had snipers in the building that the shooter was in.
Right.
Used. Well, guess what? A representative from Congress went there. Remember when they said Secret Service were stationed inside the buildings where the shooter tried to kill Trump? Well, here's a look through the windows. They could have shot the shooter with a pistol. Oh. So now the question, so that's where they say the guy was. And here, that's a view from the window. You want to see? Watch this. This is a video from GOP Representative Eli Crane, who appears at the end of this video. So this is where they say the guy was. And that's where that's where he hopped up. That's where they say the guy was. And that's where the snipers were. The snipers were inside there.
All right, guys, I'm up here on the building where the supposed sniper took a shot. It's not that steep at all. We just had a 70-year-old man back here climb up on the.
That's right, because Secret Service couldn't get up there because it was too steep and dangerous for the Secret Service. That was one of the things that was said. Wow.
Roof easily. See that water tower behind me? Had Secret Service or anybody had sniper teams up there, this guy wouldn't have made it. 5 feet up this roof, he would have been taken out. Behind me, you see the windows that Secret Service was supposedly in the second floor of this building behind. Makes you wonder why they weren't able to quickly dispatch the individual. And then behind me, back over here where those red roofs are, that's where the stage was set up. That's where the president was giving his speech from. A lot of questions here in Butler.
For sure, a lot of questions. The link is in the chat if you want to listen to the full 8-minute video. My God, it's so sickening. Come on. And don't you think that the Secret Service, they saying that it was too steep and dangerous for the Secret Service to be up on that roof? Don't you think that was an easy found out, that was a ridiculous lie? When we see that kind of stuff happening, they literally want everyone to just not trust any institution anymore. They're literally bringing everything down. And you are to have no trust, no security anymore. North Korean hackers stealing military secrets. Yeah, okay. Russia's warships to make Havana port visit this weekend. Again. And apparently they're building military bases in Mexico. Has that been confirmed? Bomber standoff. So apparently China and Russia, it was a standoff, dramatic moment. U.S. fighter jets come face to face with Putin and Xi's nuke bombers for first time in chilling World War III escalation. Whoa, man. This video goes on for 8 minutes, so you can watch it. Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Oh, so exciting. And don't you worry, because the U.S. military is going to protect you, okay? They're going to protect you. Yeah. U.S. doctors stunned by number of Gaza children with headshot wounds. Well, there are TikTok videos with the IDF soldiers laughing about how many children they killed. Trump. Israel needs to end war quick and have better public relations. Draft better propaganda, Israel. Congressman Massey boycotts Netanyahu's speech, along with 399 others.
Hey, do you know who didn't attend Benjamin Netanyahu's speech today? Thomas Massey. I like this guy, Thomas Massey. I don't have to agree with everything he says, but I respect him. So I feel about Thomas Massey the way a lot of our conservative viewers feel about me. Like, I don't have to agree with Jimmy, but I respect him, and I know he's telling the truth. That's how I feel about Thomas Massey. He tweeted this out. He says, today, Congress will undertake political theater on behalf of the State Department. The purpose of having Netanyahu address Congress is to bolster his political standing in Israel and to quell international opposition to his war. I don't feel like being a prop, so I won't be attending.
Well, my thoughts on Massey is that he's real. But who knows? Who knows? So the governor of Kentucky, Beshear, isn't that the governor of Kentucky? Slams Vance. He's not like us, phony and fake. Well, duh. But isn't Beshear is the governor of Kentucky? Am I right? Anybody? But yeah, Nothing about the wildfires, by the way. Everything is politics. And that makes me sick. Video shows a Karen berating family in Laguna Beach.
There goes the fence. Just because of people like you. I can do whatever I want to. So get moving. I'm not joking around. That's not a thing. It's not harassment on the beach. It's harassment in my home property. Whoa. Get out of here. Now.
Ezra, come on. Yeah, that's what happens when you're angry for no reason.
You bet I'm angry. This is not an Instagram moment, place. You're in my property. Get moving now. Now you're in my property line. Move it.
Ma'am, we're walking.
Pretty slow.
Jesus Christ.
Don't use the word POD.
Shut the up. Come on, Ethan. Yeah, because you're not any better. Come on, Ethan. One thing, Ethan.
Man, I wish TikTok would do this. Karen of the week.
Karen of the week. Good voice.
Great behavior in front of children, right? I'm going to play several minutes of this. We are becoming a more isolated and miserable society. That's exactly right.
This Tuesday morning. Today, by the way, is July the 23rd, 2024. And I wanted to talk about the crisis, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. The crisis that our society is going through with respect to the amount of negativity and just outright misery that many people are going through. I was at a bakery yesterday. I went to a bakery yesterday afternoon to get some bolillos and to get some croissants. And when it was my turn to be attended or served by the clerk, he asked me how many bolillos and how many croissants I wanted to get. And I told him very clearly, because I always do this. This is not the first time that I've been to that place. I've been there several times. I told the guy that I wanted to buy 4 bolillos and 3 croissants. And so when the guy grabbed the bag and started putting it in the bolillos and the croissants, he quoted me a price, and I said to myself, why is it so expensive? And I looked inside of the bag and I realized that he had given me 5 bolillos. And I told him very clearly, no, I didn't ask you for 5 bolillos, I asked you for 4. And the guy started shouting at me. He started shouting at me, telling me that it was 5 bolillos, and that I clearly told him this. Very negative, very nasty, the guy. I think he was in a bad mood. I don't know what the hell he was going through. And I was on the verge of just dropping everything, and I was going to ask him for my $20 bill back, because I clearly told him that it was that quantity. And it got me thinking, because he's not the only person that I've encountered recently that has snapped it that way, that has given me that terrible attitude. By the way, we know that customer service has been going down for several years now. Customer service in various industries has been very lackluster and a lot to be desired. And it got me thinking, you know, I think our society is very miserable, to tell you the truth. I think you're seeing it more and more, that people are not happy. People always look at things, at the glass, metaphorically speaking, they look at the glass half empty. They don't recognize and realize all the positive things that are going on in their lives. It seems to me like many of us are not, engaging ourselves in more community activities. We're not involved like.
I have to disagree with that. I will say flat out, there's not a lot of positive stuff going on. And people, and I've seen it and I've shown it, that they're lonely, they can't connect with people, and all of the things that bring joy, which is our social connections with family and friends. You know, if you had a community that actually existed with healthy people, we don't have that. And not a lot of people want to expend any kind of energy to get it. We've got really bad energy in this country. And no, I'm not a new ager and into energy. No. Negative energy all over. And it wears on your soul. We're in bad shape. But even the little things, you know. I had a weird thing. Again, I brought my car in. This week alone, I'm putting out near $1,000 on my car. Tomorrow I have to bring it in for a belt tensioner. I think I got that right. But when I picked it up Tuesday, because the air conditioning needed to be fixed, he said he didn't hear the noise that I spoke to him about in the morning when I dropped it off. Okay, so I start my car, I hear the noise. And it's intermittent, it's not constant. And I drive it closer to the office and he comes walking out. And I said, here's that noise. And he comes over and he's listening. And he says, about 3 or 4 times, every time that noise came about, and it was a very obvious noise. And he kept saying, I can't hear anything. And he said it 3 or 4 times. And then he says, well, I'm hard of hearing. Shouldn't have... That should have been information that you start off with and you get somebody over. 2 mechanics were walking out, and they came out. Here comes the thunder. And they heard it instantly and diagnosed it instantly. But why? It's weird. Why didn't he just say, I'm hard of hearing, let me get somebody else? I don't get it. I don't get most people anymore. I really don't. I'm scared for people in Chico and the towns surrounding Washington and Oregon and Alberta and other places in California, and there are fires in Montana and severe weather in Montana and Idaho and Arizona and what happens, right? So the roof comes off the house, and now they're renovating the house, and you got to move into another place, and it's not working for me at all. Not for the cats, not for me. So again, I'm just going to put out, if anybody has a place, 700, 800, sure would like to know. Yeah. For those who think just having shelter is enough, it's not. It's not. So I think about all of the displaced people who no longer have their home. And I only heard it one person in California, and this was after a fire. And I think it was Paradise. I'm not sure. Might have been another fire. She lost her home. And she was finally able to get another home. Well, the reporter said something about well, fortunately, you have now another home. And she said, and she whipped around, she said, this is not a home. This is a house. I lost my home. Yeah. A house is not a home. I think there's a song about that. It's not a home. So when you think about all of the people who are suffering those consequences, please don't say, well, you should be grateful that you have some shelter. Especially if you haven't lost anything. Don't go there. And for those, and I was talking to a subscriber today, and she was upset about what's happening to us collectively, and then it comes out that, well, really should be grateful. I'm so blessed. I have my health. I have a home, the family and everything, and a job. That doesn't mean that you're not upset about what's happening in the world. That you should absolutely X all of your emotions about what's happening in the world because you're blessed. No. No. We just need to support one another in the best way that we can. So, yeah, the frequencies are bad here. I'm really feeling it. And I was just told by the subscriber that a coyote walked right, there's like an iron or a metal fence or something, I don't know, in the back. A coyote came walking right by the fence. I can't let my cats out here. And they can't be indoors. So, but now, I think it's not going to take 2 weeks. It's going to take maybe a month for me to get my registration from South Carolina. Doing it online, then I have to send in a form with my signature, and you got to wait 2 weeks, and then pay the fee or the late fee for the registration, and then wait for them to send it, hoping to God I get it. Sometimes the pain gets so great that you just have to split. Yeah. So, come to what's NB. Here comes the severe weather now. I wish, Elizabeth. No, home is actually where you have a foundation, where you have a social network, where you have a support network, where you have the things that bring you joy. New Brunswick, okay, Canada. North of Maine. Wow. Now that would be quite the drive. That would be quite the drive. Anyway, I know a lot of people are hurting. I wish that there was something I could do to lift you from it, lift your spirits. I know a lot of people are nervous about things happening in their life. And I wish that there was something that I could do. We have to come together. We have to support one another. We have to stop judging one another. We've got to get ourselves better. We have to live honestly and speak honestly. We have to establish ourselves as trustworthy human beings so that we're reliable. Our word means something, so you keep it. We have to help those in need. That is the only way that we manifest something better. Of course, we need people to do it in the aggregate, right? It doesn't mean that you, as an individual, just decide not to, because the aggregate is not happening. It's our responsibility as part of the human race to maintain our humanity and do the growth work so that we are better. So something's happening because these frequencies are really getting on my nerves. Well, who knows? I have to get a passport, Elizabeth. Unless there's a way I can sneak in. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for showing up. Sorry my energy is so low. There's been a lot going on, and I'm feeling it. The noise happened when we can't adjust the air conditioning here. Gets super, super cold. Then it like turns off and it gets hot in here. Can't say hot, but pretty warm. And they have control over it. This is not a place for me. I need desperately to find another place. I need it. Even if it's temporary. Something is very not right here. So, yeah. Is it an HVAC? Is right outside my wall, and it's like a that's pretty noisy at night. Like I hear it right now, but at night and I just feel like it's a frequency. Do you know a road to sneak in? No kidding. Wow. But then would I have to somehow manage pretending that I'm Canadian? Get that Canadian accent? I don't think I can pull it off. Well, it'd be nice to talk to you anyway, so why don't you email me at neverlosetruth@gmail.com. It's a bit of a jaunt from Arizona to New Brunswick. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you. Okay, do your best out there. Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Good night and good luck. Stay safe.